on the News Channel 5 network. This is OpenLine.
Well, good evening and welcome into OpenLine. I'm Chuck Long, glad to be along with you for the next hour. Always excited on this night in particular because this is Ask an Expert. It's Ask an Attorney tonight. One of our very favorites here at News Channel 5 Plus. Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm is here tonight.
Thank you,
Great
Chuck.
to see you as
It's
always.
Always good to be on the set with you. You're always a lot of fun, and you know I love having Chuck up here. He knows as much as the lawyers know.
I've learned as much as the lawyers. I can say it's an education for me each time that you're here. I know one of the things I always like to tell people, though, if you're just watching for the first time, I know a lot of people are repeat viewers and we love that, but if you're watching for the first time and you have a question, we want you to get on the line quickly because the lines light up when Kevin's here. And one of the things that I've learned over the years doing this with you, Kevin, is you've got the knowledge, you've got the experience, you've got the wisdom, and I think what's nice is you share that with people, and that's why people like to call in.
You and I, Chuck, we were talking before we went on air. The truth is we're living our lives, and if we've got some things that we could help somebody with, we love to. It's selfish to know this and not share it and bring a little peace of mind or some comfort or some direction to a viewing audience. So you and I, we both totally agree we love to give.
Absolutely. And you know, and two, there's so many things, so many times when people are out watching and they have a question and they're like, well, I'm not even sure where to turn, what to do. This is where you can turn.
Well, when you said, when you don't know where to turn, turn to the Kennedy Law Firm.
There you go.
And I remember before I was a lawyer, I was fascinated with because I was just like everybody else. Can you do this? Can you not do this? And I hated to impose on busy people. But then, you know, that's one of the things that pushed me here because I really love to talk. I love to tell. And if I can help you, it'll take away some sleepless nights.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have sleepless nights. I was jotting down some of the things that people call about because we have a whole bevy of questions and comments that people make. Everything, and if you're even out there thinking about some of these things, we'd love to hear from you. Whether it's criminal law, personal injury, injured in a car wreck, injured on the job, family law, bankruptcy, estate, wills, nursing home care. I mean, a lot of times maybe you're thinking about going up against the insurance company or going up against the hospital. We don't want to have to do that, but at times that's what you have to do.
It's thrust on you sometimes. You know what we're seeing, more and more traffic, more and more people. The real world is more and more wrecks. And you said, Kev, I didn't want to have to bring this claim, but sometimes if you don't know your rights, they will just bully right over you.
That's exactly right.
I hate to see someone bullied. I hate to see it. And really, it agitates. If you had one passion, Kevin, I really want to stand up for those. You know, they say strong people stand up for themselves. Stronger people stand up for others. I do believe it.
Well, and you've believed it for over 30 years.
34.
34 years.
Yes, praise the Lord.
You know, and a lot of times we see, you know, there's a lot of lawyers out there, but they're here today and gone tomorrow, and that's why, I mean, your track record. I mean, it's really important.
Well, if I was going to go hire a lawyer, I want to know, are you going to be here? I'd hate to invest my money, my case, my future, and then you're here and now you've moved to Knoxville or you've moved out of state. Well, then you really did me a great disservice. And so that makes you want to kind of deal with established people because they've been there and they have the relationships of those involved.
Right. And they've got the experts, and that's what you guys have.
Yes.
Our phone line's already getting busy. If you do have that question or a comment, once again, you can see the number on your screen. 615-737-7587 is the number to call. We're going to the lines right now. So, Mona, I believe you're on the line with us. Glad to have you along. Would you have a question or a comment for Kevin this evening?
Yes, I do. As far as collections, when you obtained a judgment in General Sessions Court, actually I've obtained 2 judgments against the same person.
Okay.
And just wondering at what point you hire an attorney to collect the judgment, or at what point you go to a collection agency, because I would think there'd be a certain threshold before it even interests an attorney.
Well, you know, the truth of the matter, we can get judgments all the time, and that doesn't mean you collect. You know, the other side can file a bankruptcy, and you know how much you get, Chuck? When you've got a judgment against someone and they file bankruptcy, you know how much you get?
Zero.
Yeah. That's the risk factor. So a lot of times I would try to say, hey, here's the judgment. Will you pay the judgment? Many times we could even take if we had a $10,000 judgment, they'll say, well, I'll pay $9,500. We could collect the $95,000. You didn't get your full judgment, but you got your money in the pocket. And so what I'd say is I would try to run that course, try to make the demand. If they didn't, then I would entertain a lawyer. And you know, the lawyers take these on a third, many times on the collection, and collection agencies to some degree, they may take 50%. So just find out, investigate what's the best deal, who's had the best track record, and go with it.
All right, so Mona, we appreciate that first call of the evening. And you know, the nice thing too about a lot of the calls, people out there watching learn from those same calls. They may have that same question.
That's why we encourage. There's 1,000 people that would love to ask that same question, but for whatever reason, they're a little hesitant to do that.
Right. So we're going back to the lines right now. So Deborah is on the line with us right now. So actually, Nora, I'm going to you right now. Nora.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's nice to have you along with us this evening. So Nora, do you have a question or comment?
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Go ahead.
Okay. My first.
And I think I'm hearing feedback, so you might just want to go ahead and back away from the television, Nora, but go ahead. Yeah.
I muted.
Okay.
I have 2 questions. The first one is, I co-signed for my granddaughter to buy a car.
Yes, ma'am.
But they put me as buyer.
Yes.
Do I have any way of to do anything about that?
Well, here's the first situation. You always have to be very careful when you co-sign. You should reflect over those papers the best you can, because they could have said we're going to do this intentionally, or it could have been inadvertently. But you and I have the responsibility to make sure our name isn't. So here's the downside. Yes, I would go back, tell them that that's a mistake, because if she had a car wreck and the car is in your name, who's going to get sued? The owner of the car and the driver. So that's a legal responsibility that falls with you. And again, we have so many people say, well, I co-signed for my child to get this. Now, they said they were going to pay and they don't, and they're on me. That creates a real problem. So get wise counsel. The Bible says, the wise seek the counsel of others. So before I sign, I need to ask some people, am I really responsible for this? If they don't, and you really are responsible for it.
All right. Nora, I know you mentioned you had 2 questions, so quickly, if we can get to that second question, go ahead.
Okay. The next question is, I'm having no trouble with any of my other bills.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I go bankrupt on them?
Yeah, here's what you could do. We have basically 2 main bankruptcies. A Chapter 7 that you wipe out all your debt. You can usually have about $7,500 worth of property, furniture, or car worth that is exempt. Now, you can file a Chapter 13 at any time, and you can't make your payments. Well, they will make a payment plan arrangement and reduce those payments down, and you can be in the plan 5 years and work your way out. So there are always options. And again, you know, a lot of times lawyers will just call and say, look, we're going to pay you this much. Can we modify this? If we can't, we're going to have to file a bankruptcy, and we'll bring you in. And if they ever file bankruptcy, you can't ride them. It's a federal stay. It's a federal law. It supersedes state law. And so there's a lot of basic rights we have. Just learn about them.
All right, so that's a great question, great information,
Thank you.
Kevin. Really appreciate that. All right, so now we're going to Deborah. So, Deborah, we appreciate you calling in this evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I do.
Okay, well, go ahead.
I don't know how to say this, but my son got hit by a car on June the 9th. And she's driving somebody else's car. She was speeding. She wasn't charged with nothing. He was in intensive care and everything. They tell me that guy's insurance company, I can only get $30,000, and they won't pay Johnson's doctor bills.
Okay, here's where we are. Thank you for the question, and we are so sorry for your loss. This is telling everyone, check your insurance policy if you have uninsured motorists. It's not very much in the premium, so you can pay that. In this situation, uninsured or underinsured. So if they only had $30,000 worth of insurance, really that's it. If they had a home paid for, you could go after that, but most people don't have assets. So I'm telling you to check your policy, and if you don't have uninsured, Chuck, or underinsured, Chuck, we should get that, and that prevents this. And one of the things I want to make it clear, we handle car wrecks all day, every day. There's some sad, sad stories. please go see a lawyer. Take a This system is too complicated. It's hard even for us to advance against the. They are very sophisticated, and they've got the money, and they will fight you, and they will deny you. But a lawyer early in can save you so much grief, because, you know, the lawyer wants to win. They like to say, well, we had 10 cases, we won 10 cases. Get us early start. You know, I have a master's degree in military history. One of the things that I remember most is get on the high ground and get there first. And that still holds true my entire legal career. Thank you for that. But in your situation, talk to a lawyer privately, and let's just investigate really what they said. Look at your policy, because if you don't advance your own cause, no one will.
Right, makes sense. So, Deborah, we do appreciate the call, and we will be keeping you in our thoughts. We're going to the lines again. Luce is on the line with us. So, Luce, we're glad that you have called in this evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I have a question.
Okay.
If I was in a rig and I was able, should I call you right there from the rig side? Because they tell me information can get lost and never recovered.
And your question is, right there, when you're involved in the wreck, can you call someone immediately, or if you couldn't call someone? I think the point I want to take away from that is, if you are coherent, yes, loose lips sink ships. Be very careful on what you say, because it will be used against you. Most of the police have a little voice-activated recorder. Their agenda is to advance the police's agenda. Your agenda is to protect yourself. There are probably video cameras on the police cars. Anything you say can be and will be used against you. And so again, I would try to get photos immediately. I try to see who the witnesses are. Did you talk to them? And I would try to make sure that if there was, we see lots of car accident reports, and then when the people get out of the hospital, they said, that's not how it happened. So that's when a lawyer makes a difference. Say, let me correct the accident report. And the adjuster says, Kevin, we're not going to cover this. I said, well, you didn't hear from the other. What other witness? I said, the witness that's not on the report. Well, just let me see that. And we show them. And we had one case, 3 lawyers turned down, said no liability, no liability. And they came to us, and I remember saying, if you want to say no, go somewhere else. I don't even want to hear no. And one of my lawyers found a witness to it, no contact, meaning they never hit, but the truck ran them off the road, received over $500,000. It'd been turned. So what do I take away from that? The squeaky door gets the oil. You keep advancing, keep trying.
That's great advice. And as you say, don't say anything. Talk to the lawyer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Criminal case, civil case, just you can set back. You know, one of the things, I went to a big seminar and they all said, cooler heads prevail. You say, hey, you just wrecked my Ferrari. Oh my goodness. And that reminded me of the time a lady ran the back end of me, and she said, it doesn't get any worse. She said, I've ran into a Rolls Royce when Kevin came, and I was trying to calm her down, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. But, you know, and she and I had a great relationship, but her insurance company was trying to really, I said, I can't believe this. So then I had to flex my muscles, and we got it settled out.
All right, so just a lot of great information, Luce. We appreciate that call. I learned from Kevin's answer to you, so we appreciate your call.
Yes.
So we're going right back to the lines, though, right now. So I think Laura is on the line with us. So, Laura, we hope you're having a great evening, and do you have a question or a comment for Kevin? Are you there, Laura?
Yes.
Okay, well, go ahead with your question or your comment.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay.
I've been treated in a pain clinic. For arthritis in my knee and fibromyalgia for about 7 years.
All right.
And the doctor had put me on Percocet and morphine.
Yes.
And I've recently lost my insurance because I'm trying to apply for disability. I had to quit my job.
Yes.
And they will not see me because I don't have insurance.
Yes.
And so they cut me off the medications cold turkey.
Oh my.
And I worked in a pharmacy as a certified pharmacy technician, and I know that you can actually die from the withdrawal symptoms.
Yes.
From being taken off cold turkey. And I'm wondering if there's any recourse for me, because I'm starting to have like chills and getting hot and the shakes and
yes. Well,
headaches and.
Let me say this, you know, I would pursue a healthcare clinic, you know, when you're into and this could easily turn into an emergency situation, I would go to the emergency room. I would also try to pursue whatever Medicaid, whatever TennCare, whatever, anything is available so that you can get that. I hate hearing this, but you know, your story, we hear it day after day, hurting people that have been on this medication and for whatever reason, and it can happen to you and I, Chuck.
Sure.
So, you know, if we don't speak up, those who are healthy, then all of us could end up, and I'm so sorry to hear about this, but again, we go back to those philosophies. You just keep pursuing. Go on the internet, try to find, and there's going to be some people out there that will help you in your circumstance. And I salute all those Good Samaritans. You know, my church has a Good Samaritan clinic, and there's people that will step up and try to help you.
All right.
Thank you.
So, yeah, we appreciate that, Laura. All right, we're going on back to the lines right now. So, Brandon is on the line with us. Brandon, we're glad that you called in this evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Question.
Go ahead.
How credible is an attorney that's being represented by somebody, also a notary public, notarizing the same document for court?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, we have that question quite often. Can a lawyer who's also a notary notarize those papers and send it in? Yes, they can. I saw an argument one time in court, and it was very questionable if the person had the mental capacity to sign this. And when the lawyer saw it going bad, he said, I didn't sign this in my lawyer capacity. I signed it in my notary capacity. And the judge said, that dog won't hunt, meaning you've advanced it. So they can do that legally. I don't say it's always the best policy, and so thank you for that question, but yeah, they can do that legally.
Absolutely. More good information. We have more people on the line, but we do need to take a short break. We'll take that break. When we come back, more of your calls here on Open Line.
Good job.